My old co-pilot. Welcome everybody to the Minions of the Zoo Tuesday edition. Your keeper Skep Tock, and with me I have Minion Prospero.
Hello.
And expecting Minion the Hairy Channel to arrive at any moment. Anyway, it's nice to be here with you this evening. How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Been having a very pleasant Indian summer kind of week.
Yeah.
It's about to get cool next week because we're going out of town to some place I'd prefer it to be warm, but haha. It's not going to be cold or anything, but it's just going to cease being in the 70s or 80s and be in the 60s.
Yeah.
Which is always at this time of year feels cold.
Sure, especially after the heat.
Yeah.
Especially after the heat, and we're about to transition into not summer.
Yeah.
From our summer to not summer, there are two seasons. Hey, Mash, how you doing? Good to see you tonight.
Your false fall, your first
Joel's
false
here,
fall.
Spud's here.
Summer in the south and fall in the south, which is false fall followed by second summer or third summer. We're not far enough south for that to happen.
No,
Mid-Atlantic actually has 4 seasons usually, except last year where we had summer, not summer.
It's the cruel thing is when, hey Tally, is when we just get nothing and we get slammed into the cold weather. It goes from 95 to today's high will be 55, which is frigid. That's absolutely frigid for us.
Yeah.
And 55 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius, I believe, is minus 20. I think it's something about like that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we say hello to Spudgun. How you doing, bud?
Very well, thank you. Skep, yourself?
Yeah, I can't complain. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. My lawn is in good shape. There's not one weed on the property. We round up our garden, which is how you kill all the weeds in a big old bare patch of ground, because the Roundup vanishes and only the dirt remains. And
yes.
So we're getting it ready for next year's bean crop. And as I keep saying to Prospero, I'm going to get serious about growing snap peas and sugar peas. So
right.
Anyway,
when you say beans, do you mean like baked beans? The beans that they use for baked beans?
No, these are like what you call snap beans.
Aricoveras, but
yes,
fatter.
But bigger. Yeah, exactly. And
green beans.
They're big, meaty beans. They're
the proper runner beans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so these are and if you can grow this successfully, the only trick that we have in the post-apocalyptic thing, Brenda and I actually could grow enough food to feed us. We'd want for certain types of protein, and we would want for water. Water is the trick, and we have kicked around the idea of digging a well. We can dig a well out here. Anyway, planning for the future.
Because we all know that the empire's coming to an end, so
the problem is in the post-apocalyptic thing is that even if you have something, you can't defend it.
Yep.
I mean, your defense is going to be to run away from it when somebody mightier than you comes to take it away from you, because the value proposition that they offer is if you run away, you keep your life. Otherwise, and that's the only way you keep your life.
Yeah, but this is the point, though. Okay, it will probably mean setting up collectives, but
oh yeah, you would have cooperative, little groups, gangs, mobs, warlords. It will be like that. It would absolutely be like that.
Go back to pre-nation state and then be nation state again.
Whoever could get their communications up across the broadest group of people and get them together, those would be the people who would win. Those would be the people who get to set the direction.
That would be wrong, It's the people with the biggest guns that win.
Well, those usually are those. Those usually are those. Usually the ones who have the guns have the best communications too. Always.
Yes.
And
I'm sorry.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, one of the things that I wanted to just get out there tonight, and this is just a personal note that I had discussed. I discussed this with Prospero and Harry a little bit, just informally, and that is that I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about winding down my hosting duties and going on the available for emergencies or to take over for an evening for somebody every now and then, and simply a matter of budgeting my time and honestly budgeting my energy. Just the thing that I can't always guarantee is that I'm going to be feeling great in the evening. There are a lot of nights where I do a lot of things. I'm 71. I'll be 71 day after tomorrow, and even though I'm even at that age, I try and remain active enough where I'm shot at the end of the day. I like to be physically tired at the end of the day. And that doesn't meld well with evening hosting when you're in the state of declining energy. And I've noticed when I am low energy, I start to get Biden-like and what the fuck was I thinking about when I started this conversation? When I started this rant, what was I talking about? And it's just a function of being tired, and it, by the way,
If it helps,
kids, it'll happen to you.
yeah. If it helps, I'm just over half your age, and I have moments like that as well.
Yeah.
Fatigue is a
doesn't
hell
get
of a
better.
leveler.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's kind of amazing before you get your brain sorted out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my obligation to the minions, I think, is to know that I'm going to be ready and good to go and to deliver, a good product. I want to be a good representative for minions, and I can't guarantee that to my satisfaction anymore every single night. So I'd like to host when I feel like it and not host when I can't. What I mean is if they have a need for a host some night, I'd love to take it over, but otherwise I'm going to look to wind it down. This, tonight will not be the last show, I don't think, but over the next little time I'll work with Hammer and Reject and figure out how they want to proceed on this so that it's comfortable for them, give them plenty of notice and
May I
all that
just
stuff.
say in that case, I'm sorry that you want to wind it down, but I do completely understand it.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Spot.
Because you are
do.
good fun.
It's great. Yeah. It's great fun hanging with all of you. And, just because, I'm off, if I'm feeling good, I'll call up whoever is hosting that night and say, hey, I can be on, if it's a fit. And,
Hang on, does
so
this
I'll
mean
be
you're
around.
leaving Prospero in charge?
No.
No, Prospero kind of left me in charge.
Yeah, I left him in charge a while back.
Prospero left chasing her sanity, which she retained
Marginally.
marginally.
Yeah. Oh,
Just slid out under the wire of going completely batshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's time budgeting. It's time budgeting and
absolutely is.
energy budgeting, and I suffer from the same issue. You're shifting the last couple months to 9:00 my time, made it possible for me to care to be on, if you know what I mean, because 11:30 at night, it's very difficult when there are things calling for one's attention at 7:00 in the morning, or 8:00, or, it's just I tell you, there's another thing that occurs the older you get is you don't always sleep as well as you did when you were younger.
Yes. In fact, nothing works as well, frankly.
Absolutely nothing works as well, except one's bladder at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun.
Yes.
Highly functional, and it's like, right now you could just not be functional. It would be great. Go, shut up. Let me go back to sleep. No, get up. It's cold. I want your feet to be uncomfortable on that tile floor.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, shit, don't think. Whatever you do, don't think. Because you want to be able to go back to sleep.
Right.
Yes.
And if I think, it happened to me the other morning. I woke up at 5:15. And I was like, oh crap. Oh crap. Because I immediately was thinking. And I was like, God damn it all. Because it just was, it's still dead dark.
Yeah.
Since we're now, on that losing light every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're up a whole hour before it's like, look, a glimmer of light.
Oh, Brenda hates this time of year because the days get shorter.
Yes, so do I.
And December 21st is like her least favorite day of the year. Shortest day of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Harry has joined us.
Yeah.
Welcome, Harry, to the chat. How you doing, bud?
You're not hearing your voice echoing back, hopefully.
Hi, Harry.
No. Am I?
Thanks, bud.
Is anybody hearing an echo in my voice?
No.
I think we're good.
But somebody
Okay.
just opened a can of pop. What we drinking?
That is I.
What we drinking?
It's not pop, it's Yingling.
It's soda.
What-
It's not
what's
Bud Light, I
Yingling?
know that.
It's not Bud Light, it's lager. It's the Yingling lager.
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
Budweiser, Beechwood aged. They just sprinkle Beechwood chips into a giant steel tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Very nice.
All in the shape of Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
Drinkies on a school night, Prospero.
Drinkies on a school, yes, on a school night.
Uh,
Shame on, I have something to celebrate. Another California Republican just got their ass kicked.
I'm still not convinced this was a good thing.
Neither am
honestly.
I. Neither am I. I just
It's so
dislike the
easy to
man.
hate everything, and I'm just not seeing where the vitriol from McCarthy comes from.
I'll tell you the thing that I had. I can.
Okay, I know where it
He's
comes
a mealy
from.
mouthed little weasel. Okay, that might have something
Yeah,
to do with it.
I mean he's a mealy mouthed little weasel. The British would say he's wet. Do you really think things are going to turn out better if you just put somebody in there who's just going to be hard right and intractable? I just don't see it.
Personal with Matt Gaetz feeling like that McCarthy just him one too many times, and McCarthy's always been toward Gaetz and that lot. Don't try and play with the big boys.
Yeah,
We'll
he's
just tell
very
you what to
hostile.
do.
Very
Yeah.
hostile toward the Freedom Caucus, and
Exactly.
he was hostile that way toward the Louis Gohmerts, and that he's never been a friend to the Freedom Caucus, and that predates.
I think
Matt.
he just alienated too many people. I think
Well, that
McCarthy
predates Matt
really has-
Gaetz.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what you're
does.
saying is it's
Matt Gaetz
it's
is
personal.
He
It's
never-
personal
yeah.
with Matt Gaetz.
It's
That's why
not
he's
for the good of the
pursuing
country or the
No,
good
it
of
isn't.
the party.
No,
It's
of
personal.
course not. It's personal, exactly.
Yeah,
But
which
the
is what
problem
my
is-
problem is with it.
You disrespected me. I'm going to make sure you're not Speaker of the House
That's-
anymore because that makes my serotonin flow.
That's my problem with it too, Harry. But I'll tell you one thing: it's very interesting that the default position the minute Gates said is that he was going to call for a no confidence vote was to immediately threaten Gates with expulsion from the party. So we have
Well-
authoritarian rat bags everywhere. They're everywhere. Every time you turn your head, you're looking at another one of them.
We are talking about politics still, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just checking.
No, but I'm still. I do think a whole lot of them have begun to think like little petty fiefdom barons.
Excuse me. Prospero, can I ask? Can I just cut in for 1 second?
Yes.
Kefki.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's always permitted.
Yes, Kefki needed the no
Kefki-
insult the weasel.
Kefty communications always take precedence.
They do,
Yeah.
and it's perfectly fine. Hugs and bleps, Kefke.
Their GCR is 100%. That was for Harry.
The yeah, they're all acting like children. Is the bottom line? McCarthy is a turd. Matt Gates is a burn it down turd. I mean, it's just the punch bowl's just replete with turds.
Okay, well, let's talk issues for a moment. I think in
Yes.
terms of strategy, doing the one continuing resolution, giving them 45 days into which to really drive home the point that we're going to do individual votes, is the best looking thing for the party. If you look at the people in the middle and how they're going to feel about it, to just go straight to kicking your toys out of the pram if you don't get your way. Because I'm not talking about that's what it is. I'm saying that's how it looks to people in the middle. I just don't think it's good strategy to do that. And I get the impression that people are pissed off at McCarthy that he didn't just go straight to shutting everything down. Now, I love gridlock, and if they would do a real shutdown where they really honestly shut the government down, we might get some movement. But we do this little fake shutdown. It's like, well, you can't go to the Washington Monument or the national parks, and
those are non-essential services. All non-essential services, all non-essential people stay home.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know what they do is that they tell those people to stay home, and then when the funding comes through, they give them back pay for staying home. You know,
That's exactly
they basically just pay them off. Nobody loses
a dime.
anything. I mean, I know plenty of people who work for the government, and every time this happens, if you're not essential, they send you home, and then you get paid when they come back. But the
I
essential
was a United
people,
States government pay officer during a government shutdown.
well, you know what I talk about, but you know the people who are essential, they get the double screw job because they have to show up for work, and they get paid just as much money as the people who stay home and sit on their ass.
Yes.
So the best thing to do is to be almost essential. That's
Yes.
really where you want to end up.
Well, the other thing is Congress always pays themselves.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I mean by it not being a real
Yeah,
shutdown.
if they would put skin in the game.
Start turning off the heat at some point. You know, like a
Oh,
weekend
well,
to turn off the heat. 2
there's
weeks
a-
in, turn off the plumbing. You know, just really
Turn off the
crank up the crank up the incentives.
Actually, I keep trying to figure out. There was a great scene in Brazil where somebody's drowned by having sewage basically pumped into something that's almost like a firefighter suit. We could power wash the inside of the Congress. I'm beginning to think we need a hose and just pop out one of those upper windows. Apologize to the apotheosis of George Washington and just start pumping sewage in there and lock the doors.
Or just have the floor start opening up from the center and some kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark thing. And as the longer the government shut down, the wider the hole gets as they're all clustering around the edge.
That would be fun.
There could be sharks and stuff.
Sharks with freaking lasers.
I was thinking more like the fall of Orthanc at the end of Return of the King. You know, where the ground collapses underneath the fortress of Barad-dûr and all that sort of thing.
We never get sinkholes in Washington, D.C. It's really kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, it is
Because
unfortunate.
I mean,
It's
there
swamp,
are
that's
a
why.
handful. Yeah, I know. It's all just gross
Frickin'
fill.
swamp.
It's all fill.
Swampy.
We never get a good
swampy.
earthquake to liquefy it. You know, it's just
Yeah.
Right. The big problem is, and I've noticed it with your Republicans and our Conservative Party. Right. Do you know of the British Party called the Lib Dems? Liberal
Yes.
Democrats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Basically, what you've got is a bunch of liberal Democrats that know that they wouldn't get in on a Lib Dem ticket. So they go as the Conservative.
they go wet Tory. Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, and people hate it when I say this, but this is why gatekeeping is important. And Harry, is your point of, you know, you've got to sort of meet in the middle sometimes. Here's
Well, you've
the
got to
problem.
swing the opinion of the people in the
Yeah,
middle because that's how you get elected.
Yep, but here's the problem, right? And talking specifically of like intra-party politics, right? At the moment, you've got the left saying, I want A, the right saying, I want B. And then in your case, McCarthy just says, oh, we'll do A then. Right, because he's a California Republican. Okay, even the staunchest of staunch Republicans from California are gonna generally be more left. It's just the nature of the beast.
There's a handful. There's a little handful. Believe
Yeah,
you
I
me.
can tell you that's definitely there are definitely plenty of conservatives in California. Unfortunately, it's only about 10% of California, and you
Yeah.
go outside of the major metropolitan areas, and it gets to be a lot more. If we're gonna do a wetness check, I would actually put McCarthy up against any number of your most recent prime ministers.
Oh yeah.
The Tories have disappointed in a monumental. I mean, are way more disappointing, I think, in terms
Hang
of
on.
scale than any of the
Harry?
Republicans in the U.S. I mean,
Harry?
you have been screwed by those people.
Harry, I am in complete agreement. The only one that did anything even approaching conservative got fucking ousted,
Yes.
and that was Liz Truss.
Yes.
She said, let's cut this bullshit. Right, tax cut for everybody. Boom, on we go. And all of a sudden, oh, the markets don't like it. Yeah, you've got people printing and spending money like a drunken fucking sailor, and the markets can suddenly tolerate that. Doesn't matter as long as GDP line go up.
Yeah.
You
Well,
need a cloning chamber, and you need to just stick Jacob Rees-Mogg in one side of it and just make copies of him.
Make copies of
until
him.
he starts.
Oh my
until
God,
the,
yes.
Until the copies start to degrade, until he
Yes.
starts to look like that overused
Yeah.
mimeograph.
yes.
Then go get him again. Make a new version.
I'm a huge fan of Jacob Rees-Mogg, not just
I
because
am too.
I agree with him on many things.
He's a
but
snappy
because
dresser.
He is a snappy dresser, but mostly his command of the information. When he's talking about a topic, he speaks from a position of actually
Real
knowing what the
authority.
hell he's talking about.
Yes.
There are a couple
It's
of
authoritative.
Yeah.
folks that
Right.
John
This-
Campbell has shown on his videos speaking about the lasagna and injuries from the anti-lasagna shot, who were able to. We're not allowed to have it.
Is that
There's
a
layers.
thing?
There's layers, yeah.
Yeah, there's layers.
Fucking hell.
The layers never mix. That's the important thing, Prospero, right? The layers stay exactly where they're supposed to.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. The layers never mix.
Oh man.
We're back to that with YouTube. I hate to say,
I can't quit this show.
we
It's too much
literally
fun.
are, Skep, back to them perusing randomly medical misinformation.
Yeah.
I don't even.
So, even though I got very, very happy news that of major losers in the U.S. market last year.
Hang on.
Lasagna lost a good bit of money. Can't imagine why.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay now.
Sorry about that. That goes all the way back to
That is really funny though. That is fucking
hydroxychloroquine
funny.
when they
So there
could
you said it.
yeah.
You used the
mention it
word.
on air.
Yeah.
Well, you can now because it's now listed as a potential treatment. That's not medical information.
Sorry, you're going to give me whiplash if you keep changing the story like that.
Yeah, I know. But anyhow, there was a fellow that John Campbell was showing who you talk about having information to hand. Was extremely effective in discussing the problems with the vaccination program.
I've heard a lot of really smart people talk about lasagna and lasagna related areas. and even Dr. John Campbell. But I have to say, I was more impressed hearing Jacob Rees-Mogg talk about trade with Northern Ireland.
Yes.
The ins and outs and machinations of EU tax code are far more daunting to me than lasagna.
Yes. That's kind of simple science if you
Yeah,
think
because it
about
isn't just a
lasagna.
question of facts. It's facts plus psychology plus spin.
Yes.
It's the soft skills of being able to sort of convince somebody, but staying factually correct the whole time.
Yeah.
You've
Well,
got some hysterical person in front of you that says, it can't work. There's no way we can do
trade
this.
with the Republic of Ireland.
You're just going to have to
Northern-
give up
okay,
Northern
yeah.
Ireland because reasons, right? For the same reasons you have to give up Gibraltar, because go fuck yourself.
Because that
But
terribly
it's-
porous border between.
But somebody like him just calms everybody down, starts listing facts, gives a nice little history lesson followed by some implementation details, and by the time it's done, you're like, oh, if Jacob Rees-Mogg was in charge, everything would be fine.
Well, that's because
This wouldn't even be a problem.
Well, that's
Thing
because
is-
he's one of the Brexiteers.
I'm with
who
you.
thought about
Yeah.
what would need to be done to make this as seamless as possible. And
Thing is,
instead-
though, Rees-Mogg is not. He's not a leader, and he said that on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
his modesty becomes him.
Oh, we're going to do that now. Okay, fine.
Well,
Here we
my thing would definitely be because I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago they tried to show him up
Yes.
as out of touch and not knowing what he was doing in an interview,
Mm-hmm.
and they start saying, "Nice, I like that. That's clever." and they started asking him to name the price of all these things.
Yes.
Depending on where you are in the country and everything, he was within a few pence. He said a loaf of bread was about £1, pint of milk was about 50p, and he was spot on with it.
Yes, because he actually has been in an Asda, or he's trotted into an Aldi, or a
Well, I don't think he has, because he is, the poshness.
yes, but he also
It's-
knows how to read, and all he has to do is go out to the grocery institute or
Yeah.
whoever
No.
puts out their statistics. For
I've got another theory, Prospero.
Yes.
I think the tedious bastard is just auditing the household food budget.
He actually very well may be, and
Yeah.
asks his lovely spouse if
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
cannot assist him in gathering information, because why not? Why wouldn't you say, can you save your grocery receipts for the next month? Because I know these little rat bastards in the press are going to try to catch me out on this, claiming that I haven't set foot in a Greg's since I was in short pants.
Yeah. Right.
And when you can tell them what the sausage roll costs, well, surprise, surprise.
I don't think Rees-Mogg is your typical Greg's shopper.
No, I don't think he is, but you understand what I mean. Maybe
I know,
he
it is
sent
the
one of
gold
his
standard for,
47 children
It is the gold standard
undercover
for mass
into
market
Greg's.
sausage rolls.
Right,
So,
but if
yeah.
you're going to be, if you're going to be picking up a sausage roll, you might as well bop into Greg's to get an idea.
As one does, yes.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, he's got 47 children. He could have sent one of them.
I know his missus must have a chuff like a wizard's sleeve.
Oh, shut up.
I'm sorry. Right.
I'm
Can
sorry,
I just-
YouTube. That was medical misinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Tia.
probably scores high on the agreeableness scale. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
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 I like this car hinge.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I like
nice.
it too.
Do you know that black people built that? Or no, is that
Yeah.
Stonehenge or car hinge that black people built? Which
Oh, they
I
built
forget
Stonehenge.
Both of them.
or did they
It was
build
all
both of
built-
them? Both of them.
Yeah.
They all built both of them.
Black people did everything. White
Yeah.
people only just turned up.
We
So everything
stole
good.
it from them.
Yeah.
And then we stole
We
it from
was
them because we're more
cans.
clever than they were.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's why up until we turned up, we were still living in fucking mud huts.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
That now, in fairness, that's an oversimplification. There's a lot of reasons that societies do things at different velocities and different orders. There's a lot of moving parts, so it's very tempting to make these inductive kind of generalizations that means that we have more natural intellectual momentum than this other society.
What's the competition
That-
for
that
natural
isn't-
resources?
Right, a lot of it is, as you say, a lot of moving
Yeah.
parts, and we don't want to come down on that side.
The English should just be happy that they had tin that attracted the Romans
No
to come in there and
shit.
clean up their shit. You didn't have a
a
Londinium
fucking
before
tin.
the tin seekers showed up to give you guys law and plumbing. They did you guys
And
a
roads.
real. I'm going off what Churchill said. Okay, so
Yes.
if you don't blame me, it's in
History of the
Churchill's history of
English-speaking
English speaking people.
Yes.
You do realise
Which
Yeah,
I've read.
that we were mining tin before the Romans showed up.
oh exactly.
why they
That's-
showed
that's
up.
why they showed up. Yeah,
and
but
One of
you-
the things they liked about you when they first met you.
you guys weren't all that civilized, I think, is the point.
Well,
you
no,
know,
we
while
weren't. We were basically warrior tribes.
Yeah.
And Skep, as to your point, okay, they found that between, right, you know who the Western hunter-gatherers are, yep? Okay, they found that the Western hunter-gatherers contain Neanderthal DNA, which isn't present in Africa. Okay, which isn't present in sub-Saharan Africa. So there may be something in that because we mixed.
We haven't
With
found
the-
it in sub-Saharan. You're right about that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely you're right about that distribution. However,
Maybe a diversion.
however, there's not Neanderthal may not have roamed that far. May never have made it across what was a pretty dodgy thing. Getting across the Sahara was I mean, even during that little mini ice age. I mean, I was just a kid, but
There's a lot of
everybody
nothing
thought-
out there.
everybody thought that was fucked up.
Yeah, it was a lot of nothing. You could,
Yep.
and it was,
It was
so
an easy place for a Neanderthal guy to die. The other thing that I think was that and this is just from me reading anthropological papers over the last 30 or 40 years about Neanderthal and other groups of people. I actually don't think Neanderthal wandered very far. I think they kind of developed someplace and just sort of spread a little bit, and then were overwhelmed by other subspecies.
well, if you think back to a year or two ago, and they were talking about having found artifacts per chance of a second base strand of upright walkers
Yeah,
diverging from ape.
Homo erectus. At Homo erectus, or
Yeah,
after?
right, over in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know
And-
the story.
But what I'm saying is, if you're talking about looking at a slightly different DNA thread developing like Neanderthal, that would eventually get, because it was much smaller than the larger mass of migrating Homo erectus, would get subsumed. Then you would have that contained, if you know what I'm saying, that contained geography of a group of peoples that don't end up moving around very much because they didn't need to.
Yep.
They were never that large, a group.
Well, they were almost completely a coastal people who didn't go far from water. Look, their settlements were like on the Black Sea,
Yep.
on the Aegean, the up and
Sea of
down
Color.
the Adriatic. They were up in
Yes.
there were some in like northern Germany and around the coastline of Spain and a little bit on the northern coast of Africa. Those are the places where we found Neanderthal from. I think that's like until about 10,000 years ago.
The
Yeah, the
point that I
northwest of
was
Africa could be
making
there too.
is the Western hunter-gatherers sort of crossbred with the Neanderthals.
Or in other words, basically outcompeted them for.
No, crossbred, because every human of European extraction has roughly 4% Neanderthal DNA.
Everyone?
You said roughly.
No,
think
roughly
it is-
4%.
Is 4 a little high? I don't.
Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That I just looked this thing up. Okay, WHG, yeah. This is what they call the Villabruno cluster or the Oberkassel cluster. Which one? Either one only intersects Neanderthal by 5,000 years of Neanderthals. 40,000 years they were in that area.
But you only need to intersect for a small period of time, and 5,000 years is...
They're like 15,000 to 5,000. When I think of Neanderthal, I think of them stopping 10,000 at 10,000. I don't know. I have to look that up. But I think,
this is it. And basically, there's thought now that us and them interbreeding is...
they were sure in the same areas. That I'm looking at. I just found the genetic ancestry of these guys.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. And they reckon that caused I'm going to say Western, meaning specifically Western Europe's great leap forward.
But do you know how many other groups of people? I mean, there are a lot of people this could have happened with, not just the Western hunter-gatherers. I mean, the Scandies.
It could, but it didn't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you look at the Scandies, it didn't happen with them.
Well, that's where we found the Scandies. I think the Scandies were a lot farther south than what we found. I think there's a lot of misclassification. I think there's some narrative building going on. I've thought that for a long time. That's a inside anthropology conversation to have. But I think some of what's making it into the technical literature is what people want to be true about Britain and its ancestry. I think it's wrong too. But anyway, rather than arguing this thing to death, we've got other big things to talk about that I wanted to make sure that we got to tonight. Most importantly, we have a new senator from California. Harry, I know you're proud.
Well, I mean, she registered as a voter in California the day before she was appointed.
Hell, that's good enough for me.
I mean, her level of California is almost homeopathic. But
well played, sir.
Yeah,
that's really well put.
So I think Barbara Lee was the one that a lot of people on the left were pushing. And I think my prediction was pretty much spot on, that he was going to put a black woman in, and he was going to make sure it was somebody that sort of knew that they owed something to him, right? He didn't want to put somebody in who was currently running for the office, because there were people that are... So he's claiming he doesn't want to show preference. But it's really about just putting his person in.
That's exactly what this is. This is his girl.
Isn't she a lesbian as well?
Oh yeah, she's a woman. She's a woman of color, and
she fat.
She's a lesbian. She's LGBT, so she's a threefer.
A threefer.
No.
Tell me she's fat and disabled, please.
She's got a bad haircut. I mean, her hair's better than Diane Abbott's hair, but it's not great.
Yeah, well,
it's
Diane
kind of like a
Abbott's
discount. It's like if she went to the supercuts on Romulus and got just a really not good haircut.
Harry's on fire tonight.
I just made that
That is
joke
so
up.
funny. That
Please
is
feel
so
free to
funny.
spread that out into the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we need a picture of her.
Supercuts on Romulus. You don't want that haircut. You don't want that haircut. Can you fish out a picture of Diane Abbott, because she does have.
Oh, I always have pictures of Diane Abbott. That's easy.
Those bangs. Ah, it's just so. It's so nasty. But
with Diane, it's a wig. Just for the record.
But here's what I noticed about the senator.
Here's a
seriously.
picture. Here's a picture of Diane Abbott, Skep.
Okay.
Who's the Nebraskan tourism director, by the way?
If you have to ask, you're not paying attention.
I recognize that voice.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, here I'll
God, that is
fix
just it's just kind of awesome.
Okay, there's Diane Abbott.
Where's lockdown? Oh man.
Yeah.
Did. Oh,
She
poor
is the gift
Diane.
that keeps on gifting.
She is, and that that kind of an apparatchik is what we have as the new senator from California. I'm not surprised. The only thing this woman has ever done, the only position she's ever held after graduating with a degree in English
Was
or
under
something-
Jeremy Corbyn.
No. I'm not talking about Diane Abbott. I'm talking about your new senator.
Oh.
She's the only thing she's ever done is been a union organizer. That's all she's ever done.
She's a
Nothing
political
else.
strategist. She's a union organizer. I think she was for, and of all the unions to be an organizer for, SEIU.
I know. Oh
Jesus
my God.
Christ. The
The
most.
worst of the worst.
If ever
Yeah.
there was a
Does she
union
know-
that was the one that was won, because that's just terrible. Hi,
Yeah.
Johnny.
Does she know how to show horses?
Oh, hiya, Hellcat.
Hey, how's it going?
I knew I recognized the voice. I just couldn't place you. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's misleading. It's actually it's a sanguine bait. This goes back to our categories stream where I picked Nebraska as a tourist site because I couldn't think of anything else.
Nebraska
Nebraska,
is a tourist site.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Where do you go in Nebraska?
According to their website, you don't.
Yeah.
It's all good. Wherever you go, you're there.
Gothenburg. You go to Gothenburg. There's an original Pony Express station there.
The Pony Express, which existed for what, 1 year?
Yeah, about 14
Year and
months.
a half.
I
And the government stiffed
Don't
them
get
on-
picky.
on
It's
a-
an original.
The government totally stiffed them on a bill for hauling a bunch of freight, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can I
in
just...
order to justify my guess
Not
of
the
Nebraska,
government.
I looked up what tourist attractions were in Nebraska, and the first thing it brought up was the scenery. And
The
I'm like,
cornfields. The endless
Really?
fucking cornfields.
you know, there's nothing there when they're like, "Hey, look at the border." Like,
Wait, yeah, I was just going to say the best thing about Nebraska is the border with Colorado.
Imagine not being here anymore. You're almost
Or
not
Wyoming.
You're almost not
there.
in Nebraska.
look at that horizon. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't
I
you
mean,
imagine being
fields
over
of
there?
Cheyenne looks great in comparison to Nebraska. And Cheyenne ain't much to talk about.
Nebraska, wouldn't you rather be in Jackson Hole?
Yes, well, very much so.
But if you guys want
Nebraska-
a fun town in Wyoming, Casper. Casper's your town. Now, if you want a wild night, go to Gillette. But if you want a great family town, Casper is like, I would move there, except that in
It's
the winter,
it's
it's
in
like 1
Wyoming.
degree centigrade.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's not happening.
And there are 5 people in the state. I mean,
Nebraska, it could be worse. We could be Ohio.
yeah, there's that.
You mean you're not?
Well, there's less stuff on fire in Nebraska. I think.
Yes.
Nebraska is
The
maybe
bridges
boring,
don't
but
burn from the river, setting them on fire.
Yeah, it's less man-made disastery than Ohio.
That is so funny.
Wow.
Like I could say,
Yeah.
Montana's slogan is, "Hey, we're not going there."
Yeah. But you do have scenery.
Yeah, look
Very
at the
much.
Tetons on our
Right.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the Tetons are in Wyoming, please. Just that Nebraska doesn't get those. They get some extra special stuff.
I thought we
like
were talking about
most of
Montana.
Yellowstone. The Tetons are not in Montana.
They're up close to Montana, but
They're close.
Well, you know,
just
just-
inside. Well, they're not just inside, but they're
No.
well inside.
They're in
Wyoming.
Greater Montana.
No, they're
Yeah,
yes,
Greater Montana,
Southern Montana, aka
Greater
Wyoming.
Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you guys think about this idea of absorbing Eastern Oregon into Idaho? I think it's fabulous.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
I think if that's what those people choose to do, they should be allowed to do it.
absolutely, absolutely true.
10th Amendment, motherfuckers.
That's it. That I think that's an outstanding idea. I spent some time up there. I lived in Spokane, and part of my the territory that I had to cover was in Moscow, Idaho, at the university there, and then at Pullman, Washington, at Washington State University, and then some of the medical schools in Seattle. So I got to travel all over Washington and just down to the Oregon border, and into Idaho a little bit and Montana quite a bit. Got to know the people who live down there, and that's a conservative bunch of people. They are not at all like the people who live on the coast. I also had the opportunity to do some work in Salem, Oregon, which is like it's a little Portland. It's just insanely in your face,
Left.
liberal and woke. And this was
Like
like
Eugene.
2006 when I was there as a consultant for one of the companies I was working for.
Eugene's done that too.
Pardon me?
Eugene, Oregon,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got
has gone that way too because
Yeah.
of the school.
Yep. My it's the hometown of people know that I had a son-in-law who passed away from cancer. He was from Eugene, so we have some family in Eugene, and that is unbelievably liberal. Jeez,
Yeah, Eastern Oregon is
it's just different.
cows and horses and
Ranchers and people
Yeah.
with Texas-like values.
yes, or very much Idaho.
What used to be Texas-like value. Like,
Yes.
We're kind of a purple state, and we may well be a democratic state, particularly if they get
Jump
some of
over the
the
wall.
I'm going to call them vote management capabilities that they used, for example, in Wisconsin and in Georgia in the last election. If they get some of the voter management capabilities, the Democrats get that, we will not just be a purple state, we'll be a blue state.
and they're
At least for purposes of voting,
Yeah.
and now all the people here, the vast majority would be, much more conservative. But in terms of voting, the people who vote, that's the key, because none of the conservative people vote.
well, they need
just
to.
don't.
They need to. They need to care
Yeah.
because it will matter. Because they
No, you don't understand. Even if all of them go and vote, none of them voted. Whoever the number that the Democrats who count the votes say
Yes.
voted, because they're honest, and I believe that they're honest. I don't think they would mess with the voting totals.
Never.
No, that doesn't happen.
They don't understand
Come on.
percentages, and they certainly don't understand statistics. But you're right; they would never ever lie about those things.
They
So I
don't
trust them.
understand per capita.
There's
Sorry.
there's a lot they don't understand.
So much.
But I have an unreliable information, and I'm the stupid one. So
Yeah. That's what they're telling us. So, anyway, Harry, you've been up to your eyes in work. If you had any let up?
Well, today I was in a meeting. Well, I was in several meetings. But one of the meetings I was in, the guy who normally runs it was in a car, sort of phoning in, so he couldn't really be the leader of the meeting all that well. And I detected a gap in leadership, which I decided I would just fill. So I just said, look, I'm not even going to pretend that I'm not taking over this meeting. I'm taking it over. Let's go. And so it was a 1-hour meeting. I finished it in 17 minutes. And I said, this is how you can tell it's a hairy meeting, because you get time back at the end. Go have a nice day. Meeting's over. Click. That was the mood I was in today. So I did get some time back.
Yay.
No, but I'm like hyper organized. I mean, you've seen how I run my show. It's just sort of like, we're just going to go through the items, and we're not going to waste time.
Captain Bullet Point.
Yeah, and also as far as all the stuff I had to present, I said, well, here's the thing I put together for another meeting a few days ago. Nothing's changed. If you want to know what's going on, read this. If you have any questions, contact me directly. I don't care. Next.
I know.
But I was really pleased with myself. That was like, 16. It was really 16 and some change, but 17 minutes, a 1-hour meeting that often goes over. Yeah, I'm.
Be proud. I know where you got that meme, by the way.
Yeah.
I wonder what it was like at Twitter before the purge. If you would just go to work, go to a meeting, get your deluxe goodies in the morning to eat, and then munch away in kind of bored ennui.
Cat memes.
Yeah, looking at cat memes and waiting for the meeting's over. Oh, it's time for lunch. Go get some lunch. Oh, kind of drowsy after that. Like, it's time I can go home early. Okay, see you. Yeah, I'll work from home. Bye. And that's what those people did, and earned stunning amounts of money.
Shopping for sushi can be stressful.
Oh my God.
Well, you got to get the freshest stuff,
Yep.
Well, that is.
Do you
important.
like this meme, Prospero?
I'm trying to
You've probably
see
seen
it.
this one too. I don't remember where I got the Portuguese one from.
From me.
Oh, I did?
I
Okay.
post, yeah. Nice. Aliens. Yeah. Yep. That is really, that's a paper bag test there.
I think that's actually almost valid criticism. I mean, I
Yes.
think it really is true that it's more of that soft racism that they have on TV.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong.
Yeah. How did the Romans build those amazing aqueducts?
Aliens helped them.
The Egyptians couldn't possibly have built those pyramids.
Yeah, right. You get up. That's the amazing thing. You get up close to them, you see they're small, independent blocks, and nobody ever had any idea how to move that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, they understood the flood cycle of the Nile and crop management, but they couldn't figure out how to cut blocks and stack them on each other.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the picture of the guy who he climbed the pyramid and took a picture from the top of it, and then got arrested?
Oh, the guy with the ultralight.
I think so.
Are you talking about the guy who flew to the top of the it's the oldest pyramid, the what's it called, the Great Pyramid of something or other, but anyway, it's the funny looking one that looks kind of curved on top, and he flew. I was watching him. He flew his ultralight, actually scuffed his foot on top of it, to prove what a study was as he flew over that. I was horrified by that.
Well, it's also an antiquity that is.
It's an antiquity.
And
he scuffed across a hieroglyphic in the top. All those bricks at the top. They all have it's just covered with inscriptions. Covered with them.
Well, I was fair. It's like the people writing their names in the Colosseum. Stop it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but wrote that as they were making the pyramids. Those were inscriptions from the people who actually built that. Some of them are actually instructions what to do with the stone.
This side up.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's what
Skep,
Yeah.
Do you see this picture?
Yes.
Do you know what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's the beers around the world. What is that?
Oh,
Hang on a minute.
Oh, I see a product I think I recognize.
yeah. That is the lobby of the world headquarters of the Heinz Corporation.
Yes, it is.
Heinz
Several
57
decades
variety.
ago,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And why they decided
ketchup
that the
bottle
globe
format.
needed to look like that, I have no idea.
It just looks like the way ketchup looks as it's getting ready to go bloop out of there.
Anyway, apropos
It was
nothing.
that tilted, thing encircling the world, the girdling the world with their products. That's a common theme in advertising. You see
Yeah,
that.
it's the condiment fupa is what it is.
What? Oh God!
Harry, God, who's writing your stuff? That's good stuff.
I'm just delirious. I didn't get much sleep. I used to tell you, I used to make so much money waiting tables during finals week.
Did you notice that Antarctica is flipping us off?
Yeah, it does look that way, doesn't it?
It's just kind of like,
Nah.
See, and just because I'm not quite that jaded, I think it looks like a green apple in the stem.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think it was being rude, but now I do. Thanks, Prospero.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
well, once you see it,
You can't unsee it.
Calic got it, by the way.
Heinz, yeah.
Is it Heinz products?
To the far left, you can see the ketchup
purveyor
bottle.
of fine beans.
Yes.
It is like the third visible bottle is a ketchup bottle.
And there's a tall if you look,
And the
there's
vinegar.
small one, and
Yeah, the
then
vinegar.
right at the back on the left is a tall ketchup bottle.
Or chili sauce bottle, one or the other.
That's my go-to vinegar for making my
Yes.
salad dressing.
Your Heinz vinegar?
Yeah, I use crap vinegar.
I tend to buy White House or store brand.
We tend to use Sarsens over here.
It's all sour wine.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah. I love this.
It's very wholesome.
It is
The world
very
is a cat.
wholesome playing with Australia.
But anyway, sorry. Please take your show back, Skep.
No. It's only meant to go for an hour. We've almost gone an hour. I was going to ask if anybody had anything on their mind, seriously, that you wanted to talk about, something that you had noticed, interesting things. We didn't really get much of a reaction for our new senator from California. I know she'll do great.
Because we're all
I
so
put the-
cynical. We've already come to accept how much it's going to suck.
Yes.
I did put the picture up.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I do have a question about.
I'm so sorry, but that is wonderful.
Yeah, I like that.
It's
Simple.
just bones.
Right, I do have a question about.
I love that one so much.
Okay, take your show back because I'm just going to keep doing this.
No, you could actually do a whole show of just doing Gary Larson.
Here, look, I fixed it. Let's see
Actually-
what Johnny's got.
Yes. Let's see Johnny's stuff.
All right, here we go.
Johnny has ding. Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, this is it. This is exactly what
That
I'm talking about. This guy.
arsehole.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's flying right toward that thing, and he actually gets to where he gets on top, and you can see. It just pisses me off that he kicked the top of that thing. And antiquities are kind of sacred to me. I'll just be straight with you. And
Oh, yeah,
probably way too much.
Well, no, but if you think about what we had to watch ISIS doing,
Oh, don't get me started on taking down the Cliff Buddhas. Oh my Jesus Christ, that pissed me off.
yes, I was. That actually was rendering me speechless. It was that kind of quivering rage, where all you're doing is
Impotent rage
Yes.
is what that is.
and
Yep.
and you're making these kinds of
not
mouth
a
sounds
thing.
like oh,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it becomes physical for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that awful kind of scriggly feeling between the shoulder blades. Like,
Oh,
dear
yeah.
God, I'm literally watching Ludditism raised to an art.
To a level not seen
Yes.
since Master Ludd himself.
Well, not even him.
No.
I mean, that was just some fucking machinery, okay? There was nothing magnificent about that.
That was
But-
a labor dispute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically,
And
that's
yet-
what it was.
Basically.
And yet you
It-
had these beautifully crafted sculptures that had stood for, I think it's thousands
Imagine
of
them
years.
tearing Venice apart, brick by brick. Imagine them tearing Florence apart.
Venice is a shithole.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
Venice
but
is a toilet, but it does look beautiful, even if it doesn't smell beautiful.
Well, okay, let's then just take it to this level. Imagine them blowing the dome off of the Duomo.
Of what?
Imagine seeing Brunelleschi in pieces.
Stop that.
The David
Don't
in
hurt me.
pieces.
Don't
No.
hurt me.
No.
Don't talk like that.
The Rijksmuseum burned to the ground.
Good God.
Well, that's what you get with these kinds of
Monsters. Monsters is the word.
absolute monsters. They're imps from hell.
Yep. Absolutely monstrous disregard for something that is so much larger than any of them.
That's it.
God damn that.
Those
that just
pieces,
pissed me
those
off a lot.
museums, the reason we in the West treasure them so much, and not just the West, okay? Trust me. They go to Angkor Wat and they try that shit, they're going to get disappeared in a jungle.
Oh yeah, you
it's-
get lost in that jungle.
Yeah, and the Buddhists don't fuck around when you start messing with their shit.
No, they seem to
Very
have the
peaceful
side-
guys until you do that.
Yeah. Don't piss us off. You'll be fine.
But it's like, you know, these are individuals that come from a culture that is producing nothing, right? It's absolutely producing nothing. It is just a self-sowing cesspit. And they have
Yep.
to tear down everything beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well,
and that
yeah.
has meaning to anyone.
Because it doesn't fit their religious narrative. How narrow and bigoted and hateful is that? That's the same kind of narrowness and hatred and bigotry that I see coming both from the left and sometimes frequently more and more seeing more and more of that coming from the right.
Yes, the eye for
have-
the eye crowd.
I mean, it is, and you just want to say, "Oh, just dial down the
It's-
gain, turn down the gain."
Stop
just a
being
little bit."
bitches in 8th grade girls' bathrooms, for the love
Yeah.
of God.
Yeah.
Because that's
Right.
what they sound like.
But these feedback loops go back and forth, and they just go, boop, 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 and everything
Serotonin.
accelerates out of control. Nobody can work together. Nobody can trust each other. Nobody can extend the hand because too many guys' hands have been bitten off by the other side.
Yes.
And that's happened both ways.
I mean, I can be a spiteful bitch, okay? I really can be, and I can have incredible vengeance fantasies. But it's generally best to create the fantasy and not act on it. You know, just go through your little imagining of a la lanterning the entire lot, and then calming down and getting about the business. Instead, we're at the point now that it's like it's like an emotional defenestration festival.
Emotional defenestration festival.
It
You know what I mean,
reminds
though.
me-
Yeah, no, I know.
It's a tantrum.
The literal idea of that just appeals to me.
It
It
appeals to me on
reminds
occasion.
me of the Mussolini.
Defenestration of Prague.
All
Yes.
within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how they look at it. They don't accept anything that isn't them.
Yes, there are fascists on both sides of the aisle. That's part
Well,
of
I was
Totalitarians.
talking ISIS.
Well, I mean fascists like Mussolini's fascists.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Liberal
the-
fascist. Yeah, fascisti.
Yeah, the totalitarian state, as Spud was saying, all for the state, nothing outside the state, everything
Yep.
for the state, don't ever criticize the state. It's just, and Pinochet had more awareness, and he also retired, and he was a snazzy dresser,
I'm
and he
very-
died with his head still attached to his body.
Well,
Yes.
that's true. Augusto Pinochet is a good segue jump off. It's coming up on Halloween. That's going to be some fun. Halloween is my dad's birthday. He'll be 96 years old. And
Awesome.
go down and see him the couple of days just before Halloween. And Kefke points out, it's spoopy month, guys. It's almost spookmas, and she's right. And Halloween is also my favorite holiday of the year, and so I'm looking forward to it. I always do one of those complicated pumpkins that I have to get a special map thing that lays over the thing. And
Yeah,
it's
that you
always-
poke the little holes in, and then you cut it through that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I don't have to poke the holes anymore, but
Aren't you
I do.
special?
Yeah, after only doing this for about 40 years, I can actually
You can
confidently-
freehand it. Yes.
I can freehand it. But the other thing is, I actually have a decent. There are upscale pumpkin carving tools, and I happen to have one, and it does make it a lot easier. Trust me, the extremely sharp carving and scraping stuff. No, get going. It makes it so fast.
And
If you're gonna have a bunch of grandkids,
a medium blade serrated is always welcome
yeah,
for your rough cuts.
I used a drywall knife
yep.
a couple of years ago, and it worked
idea.
a lot better than I thought it was going to. But it was a lot of.
Do you know what a hook plaster knife is? Try one of those sometime. Yeah, it's looks like a butter knife that is turned back on itself and has a sharp point.
It gives a lot of sawdust for something that is not wood, but no, it's very effective.
But anyway, so I wanted to wish everyone a happy upcoming
Hang on, before we go, can I ask a question?
Halloween. Well, you just did, but you can ask another.
Oh, thanks. Right, in your Senate and House of Representatives, do you have the whip system like we do?
Yes.
The 1 line, 2 line, and 3 line whip.
Well, no. Whip means something different to us.
Right, okay, it's got a double meaning here. The
Yeah,
whip is basically in
A
part.
whip is a person. A whip is a person in the United States. The whip is the assistant to the majority or minority leader, and they're called the majority and minority whips. And typically, they're the ones who go out and make sure that members of their party are voting the way that the majority leader wants them to, or a minority leader want them to vote.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the whip's job.
Yeah, okay. And then what they do is they whip the members, and then you get something called a 1 line, a 2 line, or a 3 line whip, and that's based on the order sheet. The vote is kind of given a priority. A 1 line whip is a free vote. A 2 line whip is considered you really don't want to vote against us on this, but if you do, we won't hold it against you.
And a
the
3 line is
whip,
prohibited.
and
You
a
have
3
to vote
line,
this
you
way.
vote against us, you're basically out on your air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that it sounds like a similar use of the term, and definitely. But that is what that is. Did anyone else have any other questions?
Why
Does the stars
keep on shining? You got it on one note.
God, we did have very similar upbringings. All right, we have been your minions at the zoo here on this Tuesday night.
Don't you know? Sorry.
I
No,
may or
carry
may
on,
not be back
Prospero.
next week, but depending on how things go in my conversations with Reject and Hammer. But in any case, I want to thank all of you for being a part of this. Thank all my friends, both in chat and on the panel. Harry and Prospero, my special inside, homies. Been there since the beginning. Thanks everybody for being on the show, coming out and supporting me. Spud, Johnny, everybody, Kafki, everybody in chat. Thank you so much. It's been great, but we have been your zoo. The zoo is closed. Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
I